Welcome, and we are into module 6. We are actually getting close. I think we'll wrap up in two more classes because this was an introductory, and I might do some more. I have to see. I think a couple of topics that keeps me exciting. One is robotics, what's happening in that space, and then. But good news is if you missed classes, for example, like today, we have low attendance, you can go to YouTube and search for AI for everyone, and then you can find all the past recording. And each of these recording are roughly 55 minutes to an hour. One trick that I do is whenever I catch up on recording is the areas where things move kind of slow, where I'm showing, and then you can speed up. You can go to 1.2 or 1.5x and consume that content faster. So it depends. I'm getting more used to of consuming things at 1.5x speed. For most of my default YouTube setting is that. See what works for you. So I think that way you can get faster learning. Okay, so here's the plan for today. Just like last week, I want to start with what happened in 1 week. In AI, 1 week is a long time, by the way. And when I'll show you what happened in 1 week, you will realize, oh my God, there's so much kind of changing at every stack level. And the question becomes, how do you stay up to date when thousands of news are coming? Which are the top, let's say 2 or 3 that really matter, right? Because if you just got bogged down with daily news feed, I think it'll be overwhelming. So I'll show you a framework that I've been using to synthesize that, and then we look into image generation. If you have an idea, which is number 3 here, it's like, hey, can we create this? I'll take that as a challenge, and I'll show you live how to create it, okay? Because we have been talking about the different tool. So RK and Rakesh, if you can think of anything like at your work or at your personal workflow, anything that we can try for 15 minutes, I'll try to create it. Okay. And then I want to start going to AI agents. Some part will happen today, and then we will do it for kind of continuation in the next session because this is where a lot of action is happening. Okay, so let's see. We have about 50 minutes left. How much we can cover? There's lot we can kind of talk about. We can see the live demo as well, and I'll try to mix it up. Okay. So here's my framework, how I've been synthesizing news, because, and I'll highlight a couple of them that kind of really become an internet sensation in the last, let's say, week or 10 days. So one way to see is, as if you remember in the previous classes, I was using like, hey, this AI sandwich, right? What happened at each layer? So usually I look at kind of this 4 bucket. What happened in the apps or the use cases standpoint, okay? Then I look into what happened at the model layer, like the different AI models. In fact, these robotics models are also, so that's why I'm kind of bundling this into number 2. Then data is the fuel, and then it's not just the data, how do we protect that data, how do we integrate that data, how do we make sure we are using it ethically? So that's number 3 bucket. And 4th one is all your clouds, your hardware, your infra. So this is one framing, because otherwise you might find lost, because one news you read into like a use case, for example, vibe coding. Another news you might read, oh, NVIDIA had this big conference last week and they did a bunch of things around hardware. They did a bunch of things around robotics. So what I like to do is I like to kind of takes those news and then see does it matter to me? Me means like the work that I do, or things that I want to learn, and only pay attention to those pieces. And don't get stuck into, because there's, let's say, for example, let's take vibe coding as an example, right? So what I'll skip to 3 slides and come back. So vibe coding has really taken I think, all of us by storm, because what was happening is you can write code from ChatGPT. It's been almost 2 years now. But now what's becoming easy is this whole pain of, let's say, go to ChatGPT and asking it to create something, and then taking that, put copy pasting somewhere, the formatting issue, and if things doesn't work, there was no way to kind of easy way to fix and correct. And now some of these tools I showed you guys, Lovable. If you remember this fitness dashboard I showed you. So what vibe coding is, you just let AI write code, and then whatever it tells you, you are not a coder, you are even not a domain expert. You just ask it to do, and then whatever it says, you just say accept. If you don't like something, you ask it to, like, I didn't like this piece, can you, and then you give it what you like, and it will go back and readjust. And then so the reason I think this word picked up was vibe, is this, like, hey, I have this kind of this feeling I should create something, but the challenge, the reason I'm picking on this example is, you will see there is a lot of benefit because it enables everybody to create things. But there is also a lot of drawbacks, right? Nothing in life is free. It comes with a trade-off. So, and that's where, if I come back to in here, is you have to see there's news coming up, and then you read it, try it, give it some time. And when something starts to resonate with you, like, how does it fit into my workflow? Then spend time on that, right? Otherwise, there are so many tools, and then so this is my workflow, how I do it. For example, in quickly, I'll not read everything, but vibe coding picked up my attention. MCP, which is how these agents communicate and get data. Multi-agent, this is what I've been working on for my work, so this is always in my list. And then new models, so we'll look into this one next, because that's really changing what's happening in this space. And Gemini 2.5 also came. That's the best model for coding. I think best coding model as of, and I have to put a date because things change so fast. So I can say March 30th. Okay. And then it's the one thing that's top of my mind is, as you build out these things, these AI products, are they getting used? Are they getting adopted? If not, what's going on? And this is where number 3 is the biggest blocker right now. If anything, that's not getting adopted, which means either your data is bad, your retrievals are not working, or maybe your security team is concerned, and so on and so forth. Okay. So let's go into some of the most important and impactful. And my pick is image generation. So I think if you remember, there was an excitement when ChatGPT came in November 2023, right? So it's more than 2 years, 2 years now. It is the same kind of a moment happening now, because at that time, ChatGPT was good at text generation. And, we looked at a bunch of use cases so far. And then, so now in last 5 days, this whole wonder of image creation has came back. Image, you could create it earlier also, but they were very hard in the sense, like, you create it, and if you don't like something, let's say left part, right part, there was no way to ask, hey, go and change. For example, in this image, I'll show you how I created this. Hey, I don't like this hair which is coming on my left eye. Can you fix it? What it will do is it will try to fix it, and it will change the whole image. So that's where I think it was always hit and miss to, let's say, if I'm creating this PowerPoint, getting a good image for the content. And then let's spend some minute here, because this is going to have a huge impact on everybody, no matter what you do. And I'll pick on few of them. So one is that if you look at what happened in social media, right? Why Instagram was popular was like, you can take an image and make it better, right? You filter. So now you can take the image and not just change the light and color, and then you can literally change the entire dynamics of the picture. Okay, so the two most popular that are you'll see everywhere on the internet in your LinkedIn is one is the Ghibli type images or Dr. Seuss. There are a few others, but let's take this example. So then it'll make sense to you what I'm talking about and what is the impact, because all of these things have first order degree impact, second order degree impact, third order degree impact, and sometimes you can't see. And this will basically, whether you are a creator, whether you are writing books, reading books, creating slides, creating websites, anything that is around images and video, this will have a huge impact because it's a step function improvement compared to previous version. Okay, so let's take a look at two examples. One is that's becoming very popular is this. So I'll show you. So I'm in ChatGPT here. Okay, so this is my image, and I'm like, hey, I want to put a filter on that, and one of the popular filter that is here is Ghibli, right? So Ghibli is a cartoon kind of the studio that creates these kind of images, and as you know, these AI models, they went out there and anything that was free and allowed to use, the model is trained now, and now it can create that easily, and the quality is stunning. So if you look into this image, me and my son, and look at this one, I just gave this prompt, hey, create a Ghibli Studio version of this photo. And it's fun, and you then the questions you start to ask is like, is it valuable? Where will I use it? And I think it's super valuable because see, I was able to, instead of using my actual picture, this one is more, and this is what I use. So I'll use this functionality a lot when I'm creating slides going forward, as an example. And so you can, for example, take your Mary's photographs, create this, and then it makes smile on the face, and then also kind of a lot of use cases. Okay. Another area which is going to be is all the books and comics will have huge impact. So let me show you an example. What I did was I had this post on my blog. Okay. So this post I wrote few, I think about a month ago on February 26th, and the argument I'm making, or the point I'm making is, hey, there's only 2 skills you need in AI and 2 skills you need in fitness. And as you know, it's a lot of text. And I'm like, what if I make a comic page out of this? And so that's easy to digest, easy to understand. And, I can take a printout, give it to my son. He will also like it. The learning becomes easier. So what I did was next, I said, this is my prompt, create a comic stripe for this blog post. Make sure it is fun and easy to read. Okay. And then I literally took basically this post that I was showing, and I just copy paste this, put into the prompt. The reason I'll show you a live example as well, is because this OpenAI server is so overloaded right now. If you try to create, it takes few minutes. That's why I thought, let me create these examples and then show it to you. So if you look into the output here, here's my prompt, this is my post, and look at this. And then you ask the question, to create something like this before, let's say, what we can do now, it used to take a lot of basically manual work, and then you need a designer, and then you need Adobe Photoshop, and then you copy pasting images and symmetry and all that. Look at them. I mean, that's where, if you look at like before this model, the previous model, if you try to create something like this, what you will have is this person's face will not match with this person's face, and then so that this entire story is broken, right? And then the other problem with previous image generation model was it was not understanding text very well. It used to garble English and French and whatnot, mix up, and I don't know if you have tried it. But now look at all those problems are gone. It has become really fun to basically work with these image type of use cases. And that's what I'm arguing or I kind of telling is, hey, this wonder of using AI, just like it was for text 2 years ago, now it is for image. I'm going to spend a lot of time on this one, just to basically truly understand what are the limitations, what it can work, and what it can do. I'm worried about few areas as this is available to a lot of people. All of this, like the more fakeness. I saw an example yesterday where somebody created a fake image of image means like the receipt is like from a restaurant or a flight, and then he's like, okay, now I can reimburse this, and that's I mean, those use cases are bad, and then they will happen. And now the question becomes, how do we detect it? How do we control? So that's what technology is, a double-edged sword. It gives you power, but also it brings problem. And then how do we handle those problems? And I think all the AI problem can be solved by AI. So I've seen some interesting use cases. I've seen entire website is being transformed into Ghibli images or newer images pretty fast, and that's fascinating because the speed at which this creativity is pushed, the boundaries will be pushed quite a lot. Okay, so play it, and I think that there's one thing I'm like that if you see these memes that are floating around on the internet, largely 90% of the memes are same, right? And there was like, I'm like, where are the creativity memes? Why the new ones are not coming? But as I see this technology, I think there'll be a lot of good quality memes, new ones, right? Created by AI, not created by other designers. I think the image search will be to the next level, because today, if you look at, let's say google.com, okay? Anything that you want to search, it's literally, let's take an example. For example, so let's say Golden Gate Bridge, okay? And as you know, this feature has been around for more than a decade. I can go to images, and then now I think this whole image models will start to come in here. I can literally click on this image, and I was like, hey, create a variation of this. Or if I'm searching already some, images, it will show you all the images kind of, wherever I see the gap, I can say, hey, I didn't like this angle of Golden Bridge this way. I like the lighting on this one. Can you take these two and then create a new picture for me? And it will do it for you, right? So that's where I think it opens up the opportunity for creativity and search and use, and then all across the use cases. So I'm super excited. The reason I included this for today is that it will have impact in the role and jobs we do, and then the productivity when it comes to. Okay, so it's good to kind of understand. Okay, so this is, I already showed you the blog post I took, presentations, and okay. So I've covered two things: how I stay on top of these news, and we covered one of the important one there. I think that's relevant. Okay, so if you guys have an idea, is that you in the image on the previous one? Yes. I don't know if you're referring to this one or you're referring to what I uploaded, RK, in here. Yeah, this is in my driveway, and this is me. I don't know if this was your question or. Okay. You guys have anything we can spend time building for next 10 minutes? Anything you want to build?
So, Manjit, one use case, I was just thinking through this like the other day, like if we are planning to build a house, we need a design plan.
Right.
Okay, so can AI do that? Is it so mature to do it so accurately and that matches our requirements?
Yeah, no, good question. So these general purpose models, they will create something for you, but it's not very good. But there are couple of startup companies. They have taken these model, fine-tuned it on the data, and then they are able to do it. So, for example, let's say, what role are you thinking about? Real estate architect, or what role are you thinking about?
Yes, yeah, real estate architect kind of.
Okay, so let's say I'll just do a search and let's see what comes up. I'm 100% sure there's at least 2-3 startup uh, for real estate and let's say architect role. Okay, and in fact, these days instead of asking here, Perplexity does a better job. And I didn't copy my query. Sorry. Let's do it again. Which startup is working to apply AI in real estate? Okay. So let's see what comes out. I'm trying to give some pointer because, and then we can try it into the latest model, how farther they can take. But then thinking about the prompt, it will take some time, right? So I haven't done the architect prompt. But see, there's some usual suspect here: Zillow, Redfin, and then right. So these are, I don't know if they are in Bangalore, but I think in at least in US market they are pretty popular. So let's see this Liti, a SaaS platform integrating AI. This is also not pretty. So let's do it. Okay. So since you asked, I'm going to try. Okay. So give me some description of what kind of house you want to build, and then let's see what blueprint we get. While so just keep talking to me, and I'll write. Just give me some criterias. Are you thinking about an apartment or a single family house, and what you like? How many bedrooms, and then.
Yeah, so like we want to build a independent house on a 30-40 plot with 4 bedrooms. It can be a duplex with following all Indian Vastu rules.
Okay.
Maybe like
That's about to ask. Okay. Yeah, no, keep going. Yeah, I'm just giving it a role. I'm telling it that like, hey, you are a certified architect in building design,
okay.
and I want you to create the design for. Now, tell me your specifications.
Design for a 30-40 site, 30-40 plot, which is
Okay.
north facing. The
Is it
requirement is,
okay? So
yeah,
I'll just put north facing. Yeah, keep going.
yeah. So we want a social living area.
I need some good space for my living room, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
4 bedrooms.
Okay, four
The,
bed. Okay.
and the house can be duplex, multi-story building, like a 2 floor or 3 floor.
Okay. Okay. I want to build as a duplex. Okay. What else?
Good light ventilation should be there
Okay.
and should follow Vastu rules.
Sunlight and should follow. So I'll just let's say. Okay. So no, that's I think good example, right? So but let's see. Okay. So few basics. Whenever you talk to AI, you tell them what. A little bit of context what right instead of leaving open-ended, so I give it a role and then I give my requirements. Okay, now let's see what output I want. If I want like make sure this design is complete and I can take it to the city for approval. Okay. Consider all the rules that we have in California. I know you want to build it in Bangalore, but this for as an example, right? Because building constructions rules in California. Okay, so let's see, and that's why you will see the limitation of these models, right? And then and sometime it will ask follow-up questions, right? So it's saying, okay, I'm based on what I want. It's asking like, okay, this is the plot size facing, right? So basically, right now what it started to do is it gave you the text description. And let's see, because now these models have a bit of imaging, if it can produce an image with some of these dimensions, and then right. So basically, it made it WASTU compliant. It's not visual yet, but as you can see, okay, look at it created your puja room for you. How good is that? Right? It takes care of the sunlight. It takes care of the all this kitchen and everything. Duplex. That's the second requirement we had. So I really like this because it's adding 950 square feet on the next floor. Right? It's the first floor. So light and ventilation. My local kind of the city or state guidance in here, and so I can create a permit-ready floor plan with dimension, elevation, and site plan in PDF and PNG. You want to try that? It's saying it can do it.
Let's try it.
Yes, please. I'll always say please to AI. Please go ahead and create and create. And do you prefer PNG or PDF?
Yeah, PDF.
Let's do PDF because it'll be easy to render here. Otherwise, we'll have to. So one thing you see is some of these AI models, they started to have this canvas as you use these tools. Okay, so because so far I had kind of chat interface, right? Everything was going in a vertical as I was typing, going now. Now it split the screen into two parts. I have a left-hand side and I have right-hand side. And the reason it basically does is a little bit of the agents behind the scene, and we'll talk about more why this is needed. And in fact, these two screens is becoming three screens now. If you look into, on one agent, one side you have your content, then the actual work, and then the final output. Okay, so let's see. Submit design. Okay. It still didn't give us the PDF. Okay, so let's see what happened. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I think
yeah. Next, I can help you generate a PDF with detail plan, visual, city, California. Once I have that, I will prepare your permit ready in PDF. I don't see the PDF output, so let's ask it again, because that's why. See, the problem with some of these is. See, it was doing the work, and it took all my question into the context window. Remember the context window from session 2? So sometime it forgets. Sometime it forgets, and then you have to re-ask it again, and then tell it's like, I do not see the PDF here. And you know what? Let me talk to AI. I don't see the PDF file. Can you check again and make sure the PDF is produced? I'm not even typing. I'm oops. Stop now.
It asked for 3 questions.
Okay, so let's see.
Manjit, it asked for 3 questions. If you go up, it's asking us to answer 3 questions for that to generate a PDF.
No, but I gave this information, country and all that. Yeah, so that's what I'm wondering.
Okay.
Yeah, no, good point. I think let me see if it can. Because I agreed, right, in the previous one, yes, because you asked the same question in the previous version. I said, yeah, it looks good. Go ahead and create. But yeah, good point. I think you should kind of keep reading what it's saying and where it's getting confused, and guide it. Guide it, and I think this one thought it's on top of my mind these days is that as this AI becomes more popular, I think most of us will be AI manager in a way, guiding it. Or it's a little both ways. AI will be managing us, we will be managing AI as well. And so in the enterprise where these workflows are big and then things, and here, then how do you kind of navigate and then give feedback? And biggest example I have is how AI is managing humans. It's already happening at a very, very large scale. If you look at, let's say, Uber or Ola or any of those, I mean, Uber AI is managing millions and millions of drivers automatically. There's no human involved. So they're safe, they're assigning them the work, giving them the payment. And so I think it'll be both way. We managing. Okay, so looks like it gave us the PDF. Let's see how good are. Okay. It's still it just dumped the text information there. You don't have the actual architect diagram. That's I mean, my guess was right because see it has the knowledge, but then to create the data in, let's say, your AutoCAD or 3D with the right kind of dimensions and that, you probably need to use a specific tool which has this AI built in now. That's the other way to look around, right? Instead of ChatGPT to create, you go into, let's say, any of those tools, and then you use that to create. So that's kind of the vertical space that if for a particular scenario and use case,
It's asking if we want a visual floor plan.
But I don't think it'll give us, because see, that's let's give it a try. I mean, that's as I used AI enough, so I know that where it starts to hit the limitation. But this document include full design, visual. Let me know if you like to add a visual floor plan in the evaluation.
And Manjit, like sometimes, AI beats around the bush without answering.
Yeah.
And it comes back to the question number 0 that we asked.
Yeah.
So do we have a way to avoid that, like with prompting?
A lot of it is yet, and that's where if you'll go into these specific tools. So in coding, that's already started to happen. Let's say in this tool, if I write something, and then it's like, hey, I don't like this one or that, and then so it's a continuous feedback loop, right? So one way you can give feedback to it here, anything that produce, you take a picture, or there's like, hey, you gave me this output, I didn't like it. So that's one method. The best way is if you can craft your prompt from the beginning with the examples and with the right instructions, and then that's the best way, because then your cost is also low. Because otherwise, if it takes you back to the 0, and then if you're going, it's consuming your request and tokens, and then thing.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I think for a given role, and then that's kind of you try. And one arc I'll tell you is, if this is your use case, then spend some time, search things around, and see if any startup has already built this. Okay.
Sure.
Because startups is where these purposability use cases, those are the ones that are innovating. Okay. So other thing is, we can try to do this in, let's say, I don't know, Lovable. So let's give it a try, just to compare, because that's a little bit of what I'll do is I'll go up, I'll take the same prompt. Okay. And we can ask Replit also. Both are fine. Let's try it here. Okay. And because these has more inbuilt UI capabilities, because they have inbuilt Python, JavaScripts, and all that, and then they can create these tools. It's conversation interface. They have the basic ones, and that's the one limitation, right? They can give you the plan. They can give you the how it should be done, but able to produce with the right set of things. That's where you have to go to the specific tool. So I'm going to give it a try. Let's see if this is able to produce any better outcome for us. So Replit is another tool. It's mainly used for building website and writing codes, and then. So we can come back to this, right? It'll take maybe a couple of minutes. Let's talk about a few more things, and we will see. By the way, when we think about agent, this is a good example. So what it's doing is, think of your planning agent. It's planning out. Took your request, and then it's creating, okay, let me get a plan. Then there will be a coding agent, then there will be a testing agent, and then there will be a bug verification agent. And that's where, to your previous question, when you get stuck, that analysis and bug agent is helpful. And it asks, let's say if I can say, okay, please start it. So planning agent finished, it's asking me, okay, is this plan looks good? Okay, it looks good. Let's go ahead and start. Okay, we'll come back to in here. Here is one framework how to think about automate, and we all should be thinking into whether your personal work or whatever job you do. So basically, how many times I'm doing a particular step or a task or an activity. That's basically your y-axis, and then x-axis is how long does it take me? Is it taking 1 second or 5 seconds, 2 hours? And if I'm doing something, let's say 10 times in a day, or every day, then it's like, hey, can we automate? And this is something not new, right? If you think about like your dishwasher or your washing machine, like for clothes and all that, those were like daily chores, right? And that's we humans have been doing this automation. And anytime we get a technology in hands, we try to see where do we apply. And now this AI is open up lot more opportunity for us. So how to think about this is, if you look into your week, and let's say last 1 month if you use calendar, like, hey, what are the things I'm doing, repetitively, and maybe I shouldn't be, can I automate them? So this 2x2 matrix is helpful. If something is very high frequency and then it's taking kind of the time, then that's the best guess. Let me show you a survey. This one caught my eyes, and then because one question I've been whenever I do speaking, people ask like where AI is applied and which roles, and where we are seeing the most adoption, where are we seeing the most value out of it. So this survey is from McKinsey, and then if you see, it's a little bit of matches with my observation in this space. So few roles. If you are in marketing and sales, there is a lot of action happening there. If you are in the software development, right? These examples that we are looking at, for example, let's see this is still writing. Okay. So if you are into software development and product, that's another big one. If you are into IT, think of your all support scenarios and your IT help desk and all that. That's where I think another big one. Anything ops, that's my generalization. Customer ops, service ops, or whatever. Anything ops is, I think, will be automated quite a lot. Okay. So and then a little bit of the verticals here, which industry is leading from that function standpoint. So for example, if you are a technology company and in your marketing and sales department, that's why this bubble is big. Okay. So the reason I thought I'll put it for you is to now think about what my role, and then if you are, let's say if I'm in sales and marketing, and if I'm completely ignoring this thing happening, then I may get caught by surprise. Okay, so it's good to see where it is starting to add value. Okay, so here's my generalization. Because, and I was reading this, and I really love this. Basically, this guy put a tweet and is like, and let me read it for you loud. This is super important to internalize. Think about it. Any job which has sufficient data to train. So any role that you work on, okay, and if it's that job, you can define that, and has the sufficient way of telling whether something is right and wrong, which means like, hey, I'm doing these 5 steps in my job, and I can literally document that, how I do it and what's right and wrong, then it is guaranteed that sooner or later, in next 5 years, there will be a lot of automation in that particular role. And then the question becomes, okay, what are those roles are? And then it's to me, instead of worrying about many other roles, think about what roles you are doing or you want to do, and then then see how we can prep, how we can use AI to our advantage rather than being anxious about it. Okay. So this is one area, a little bit of I work in, how software get built and pushed today. This is going through the huge transformation. I'll not spend time on it because it may not be relevant to all of you. How the code is, let's say, as a product person, we design what we need to build, and then we develop it, then we package it, then we test it, and then release it. This life cycle will have the lot of automation. There's already, this is a good workflow for automation. But what for example, Replit is doing, I'm talking about this level of automation, where I gave the scenario and it is writing code, it will test it for me, it will deploy it for me, and so that's what basically think of it. There'll be a lot of compression into this space. Okay, I had exercise break for us, but let's skip because we only have 10 minutes left. I'll start touching on AI agents and robots because that's where here's how to think about it. See, this AI is powerful, this software is powerful. Okay, what it's doing, but what if we give them legs? It already has brain. What if we give them legs? If we give them arms? If we give them ability to walk? What this AI can do now? That's where I'm combining both software agents and then also software agents with legs and arms and the movement. So and it's important to kind of see one way we see it's kind of wave in Salesforce world is we are going through this evolution, right? We had this bunch of other types of automation. Right now, we are working on these AI agents that I'll explain a little bit more. And then we will give them legs, and if it's a drone, we'll give them flying capability. And then we will have robots in our home, in our work. And here is this one question that I was in a panel and people was like, what if this AI progress stop right here? Okay, from model standpoint, from brain standpoint, right? Have we reached to a point where if we learn, teach it, test it the best way, and then we probably don't need this AGI, which is, let's say, we're talking about, the internet is talking about AGI. But my take is we don't need AGI to drive the kind of automation. These models now can handle text, audio, video, and that itself will be automating a lot of basically the jobs and tasks. Okay, so that's kind of my take. Let's see. I always keep refreshing my stance on these things because if you look into this one, where are we going? Earlier we were like, everything was human to human, and probably there was just computer for data entry. Then the website came along between 2000 to 2020, humans to website. And it became a norm. Like if you are a company and if you don't have a website, people will be like, oh, there's no way for you to grow. So everybody, now these days have the website. I don't think any organization can grow and scale without a website, small or big. But then there was this kind of, I call it an AI winter time. There was a lot of promise between 2020 and 2025 where we had these bots that didn't work very well. All these virtual agents, every website had this like, hey, you can come and ask questions. And they were only answering few questions that were tied together with a rule. And then anytime you ask a different question, they were failing. And I call them the bad bot. But this is what's happening, I think, in the next 10 years, and where there's a lot of AI agents to AI agents, humans to AI agents, humans to robots, all the mix and match. So it's good to a little bit of learn how it impacts us, and try to understand what is the building blocks of an AI agent. So quickly, we'll go more deep in next section. Will be, I think, both everything. I'll bring examples of both what's happening in the AI agent space and then the robotics. But I want to set a stage for us in the next session. Think of any job, and if you have the data and you know what actions that job person to be doing, right? Because, and don't think of a job as one monolithic thing, right? Let's say PM job has many granularities. So you break them, and then how you want to expose that. So literally these kind of 4 or 5 boxes, and then we need to kind of break it up into how these agents work. Here's one example: customer service agent. You ask a question, how that question is broken down into planning. Okay, exactly here, right? This is what happened very first step. It planned it for me, it asked for the approval. If I say, hey, don't even ask for the approval, it will go and then even will not ask for the approval. So that's what it means. Then the execution. Now, if I go back to Replit, this execution is happening, right? This is running for us. Let's see if it's the agent is working, right? As you can see. It's a good timing. I mean, this what I'm showing on the slide versus what you see here. But ultimately, outcome is what matters. All these, I think, technologies are good, but this last box, when this AI gave me these results, are they good enough? And that's where, RK, to your use case, like, hey, I wanted to build a house, or I want to build a house, and then I need a design, and now I tried this and my outcome is not there. So yes, in that case, you can conclude for the particular use case, maybe it has not been stitched together. And one important thing to note here is, see, we have this brain that can do a lot of things, but for this brain to produce the right outcome, it has to connect with data, it has to connect with the integrations, the output we want to produce. And that's a lot of hard work. And that's where these bunch of other companies are doing. And then so you should be able to find one for real estate. So here's one, because we'll be talking about a lot more on the agent side. So a couple of the boxes here. GenAI, we already know, we covered that. Basics of LLM, we covered quite a bit of that. I showed you what happens behind the scene when you talk to an LLM, when you give it a prompt, what happens behind data processing. We a little bit of talked about that. We a little bit of touch base on RAG as well. Think of the connecting RAG/MCP. If I go in this roadmap, we are now talking about introduction to agents and how these agents works behind the scene. I'll show you some live examples in next class. And and then GenAI. This diagram is in fact a little bit of stale now. Now I would love to update this and include some better approaches. But let's try to kind of a little bit of conclude with these thoughts that I have here. Some future predictions, and then we will be talking to and using talking to AI more than humans. That's given. Just like we spend more time on social media, right? And then so that's kind of the thesis here. Right now, there's an enterprise agent, there's a consumer agent, and then I think that will come together. Okay, that's we are looking at Replit. Okay, that's going on. We need to figure out how these agents talk to each other, what happens to data, what issues it brings to us, how do we test them, how do we govern them if they are not doing the right way, and what it means, who will own that responsibility. And there's a lot of fight going on. I'm into big customer meetings where CIO is saying, hey, I want to own this whole agent platform, and then anybody in the company need agent, they should come to me. And now HR is saying, no, if that's the thing, then what's my role? Because I was the human kind of the resource earlier, and now I used to hire people when you gave me the requirement, help hire people, and now you're saying I'm less relevant. Here's another thing. Your chief operating officer, many companies have that. They are like, hang on, guys, HR and IT. I think this is my role because I have the more understanding of where is the business going, where the money needs to be spent because I'm the operating officer. And then maybe I should be owning this digital labor creation and distribution and assignment, and probably I can try and drive the optimization as well. So let's see. It's interesting where these things kind of land, but more important is they have to start delivering the right outcome. In some cases, they are. Okay, as we saw in the survey, because this survey is done from many companies, kind of executives, and if they are putting their, let me show you quickly, right? They have their pictures, they have their names, so they are putting this, telling like this. It's not a kind of made up. If you look at these guys, this kind of McKinsey, and then bunch of kind of other report. Let me drop the link for you if you want to read. It's an interesting one. Okay. All right. So going back in here, the so what it means to us is again, what's that learning playbook? What are the key things that matters now? And so I keep refreshing this slide as things change in every quarter. So this is my I think learning the fundamental, and the best way is you have to spend time with it. You have to use it, right? To understand what it can do, what it cannot do. Prompting, I think prompting will be relevant no matter what, which is think of other ways. How do you ask questions AI the right way so that it can produce the desired output? And once the desired output is there, how can you, do you know if results are good or bad, right? Because the challenge with this whole vibe coding is you don't know what is good other than visual part. And that's what is basically, you know, the sometime you declare victory. Oh, I built this app and all that. And then once you put it out to production, it completely fails. So I think this able to assess what is the definition of good, and if not good, how do I fix it? Data will always be relevant. What data we are using, why we are using, and how do we make it easy to access? And it's more important of agent, because agent in itself without this data box is not like completely useless. Okay, so that's why this data literacy is super important. Let's say if I go back here, and then as we saw in the image use case, where's the boundary, right? If people, let's say, starts to make fake evidences of car insurances, home insurances, and whatever, and then they submit, and then how do we check them? Right, and hold this debate of should we be doing or not doing. So that's kind of where it comes down to. All right, we are coming towards the end. Happy to maybe if you take any questions that you have. Otherwise, we'll keep talking about agents, and then how do we prep for interviews and whatnot. And then so a little bit of touch base on this one in last class, like some of the questions that are getting asked. But I think just if you catch up on all these sessions that I'm doing, you will be in a pretty good spot. And people say like, hey, how do you use AI? And how do you learn? And then because those are the things I'm explaining and covering and telling you the playbooks. Okay, so I'll stop sharing, and if you have questions, otherwise we'll wrap it up here. Vijay, you are still doing product management, right?
Yeah, I'm in product management. Yeah.
Okay, and more on the security side, or what's your domain?
Yeah, I am a cloud security. I run services on AWS and Azure.
Yeah. So I think this whole security cloud and now AI security is a big one, because I work with a lot of regulatory customers, right? Banking and right? Government customers and right. So, and they do want to adopt these new stack, and then they, it's a board level pressure, and sees, the CEO is asking, and then and that's where it's like, hey, how do we provide the right visibility, the governance, and the control, and specifically on the agent side.
And also the,
Yeah.
actually the prompt security, right? Whether the context of the prompt is also a part of it.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that to me that there's some good solutions out there around kind of prompt injection.
Yeah.
But the biggest, and to correct me if I have different observation, the biggest in here is when you connect across different data sources. And let's say you connect with Snowflake and Databricks and ServiceNow and Salesforce, and then you let these agents loose and go and answer questions. That's where it's like, okay, if this agent can start to answer question on, on my HR payroll or 401k, I've seen those horror stories. So,
and who can access it, right? Can I access it, or somebody else in the company can access it? So that is a context.
Yeah. And then Microsoft Copilot, I think, it's pretty bad. And the whole access control you give at kind of file level, now they are fixing it, but that's where because an enterprise, you can't. I mean, the one such bug where we like take this shit down, and
the access controls has become very democratized now, right? It can't be
Yeah.
in one place anymore. Yeah.
Right.